All right, everybody, let's get to it. I guess I noticed, it's been pointed out to me that I do this clap when I start, take a sip of my water, whatever, so be it. I guess that's just my habits. NHL power rankings for the 2019-20 season. Number 1, Tampa Bay. Choked out hard in the playoffs to Columbus last year, but there's no holes on this team anywhere. You got Vasilevsky, Vezina quality goalie in net. You got Point, you got Kucherov, you got Janssen, Pallet, Killorn, Gord, Cirelli. Like the list goes on and on. This team is so deep up front on defense. They got a little bit of everything. It's all going to come down to how they deal with the pressure. Pressure is Tampa's number one enemy this year with how their playoff success has been. I expect a lot of good things during the regular season and a prove it to me year, but I cannot rank you below the top team in the NHL. You are top quality. Get it done in the playoffs and prove it to everybody that you are the best in the NHL all around. Number 2, St. Louis. It's hard for me to put them at 2. It's hard for me not to put the defending champs at number 1. I don't think my NBA basketball rankings are going to have the defending champs at number 1 this year either. But so be it. St. Louis, still a great team. They're basically bringing back everyone. Binnington is one of my favorite young goaltenders. He's one of the... I think this kid is legit. He's going to be the next, like, Carey Price, Pekka Rinne, like Marty Brodeur. I think he is phenomenal in net. The last half of last year was not a fluke. This kid is on point. He's going to carry this team once again. Not like they need a lot of carrying. Their defense... who was it they added? Falk from Carolina in that trade. Slight upgrade in my opinion. Some might argue that, but I think their D is even better this year. And of course, up front, they got Gunnarsson, Bortuzzo, Tarasenko, Shen, Schwartz. Like, just a good team all around. They lost Quenneville, but so be it. I think this team is great and will do big things. Number 3. All right. Fellow Toronto fans, this one pains me to do, but until Toronto can prove they can beat Boston in the playoffs, I cannot rank Toronto above the Boston Bruins. That top line of theirs might be the best in hockey. Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, just so much fun to watch. As much as I hate the Bruins, that top line of theirs is just phenomenal. They still got other quality players, Chara, DeBrusque. Like, the team is deep. The team is strong. They're built for the playoffs. They seem to go deep the last few years with the core they have in front of them. Tuukka Rask on the last year of his contract, I believe. Aging goalie. Chara's aging. But you know what? This team is still phenomenal. Injuries will be the bug that bites them if anything does. And I like them to have another strong run this year. Number 4, Toronto Maple Leafs. The offensive talent on this team is deep, phenomenal, and might be the best all-round group of top to bottom forwards in the NHL. You can debate the Mitch Marner deal all you want. Was it a good deal? Was it a bad deal? I don't like to jump on a 6-year deal before the first year is even done. I want to wait and see kind of how Marner plays, what other contracts in 3-4 years look like in comparison to Marner and the level players that there are. The team situations are different with how much Marner was going to get. Compare the other players that signed Bostons and the Carolinas and the Tampas and the Winnipegs, all you want. Bridge deals are different than long-term deals. You're paying for the players' unrestricted free agency years when you go longer term, which ups the price. And you also look at the top paid players on those other teams that sign their RFAs at lower rates too. They don't want to exceed that top player. On the Leafs, that top player, the bar was set when the Dubas went out and signed Tavares. Great signing, no one argues it, no one hates it, but that set the bar for the Leafs' highest paid. Then Matthews comes in a little higher, and Marner has been the most productive player out of them all. You can argue who's the best player out of them all, but the most productive so far has been Mitch Marner. So it's so convoluted, and there's so many details that go into contract negotiations. It's not just a flat out apples to apples comparison in any league or sport when it comes to a salary cap situation. So you guys can hate it, you guys can argue about it. That's just my opinion on it. I want to wait and see how it plays out, see how how the contracts go out. And Dubas is gambling, and that's exactly what he hopes increases revenue for the NHL among all the other NHL GMs, hoping gambling and gambling revenue will increase salaries all across the league. It'll increase the cap dramatically, they're hoping. So we'll see what happens. Is it a gamble? Is it a risk by Dubas? Of course it is. In the Penguins, they did it with a couple high-priced players, a couple high-paid players in their core with Crosby, Malkin, Letang getting the money. But they had two great young goaltenders and Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray, who helped them reach the cup and win those cups as well. People seem to forget how quality goaltending is key in the playoffs, and what Dubas is banking on, I think more than anything, by signing the forwards to these high-priced contracts, is that Anderson will be able to carry them in the playoffs and show more consistent form than he has the last couple seasons in the playoffs with the Leafs. And he is a good goalie, and if he can find that consistency come the end of April, May, June, then the Leafs are in very good shape. I don't have to tell Leafs fans about the roster, the lineup that they got. The odds on defense, I think their defense is a little better now. Tyson Barrie, you got Jake Muzzin came in last year, Morenson, Sandin, Rasmus Sandin. Oh my goodness, this kid is gonna... I think this kid is gonna have a phenomenal year. I love this kid. The Leafs seem to like him a lot. He's gonna be playing against the Senators tomorrow night, and I expect to see a lot out of this kid this year. The Leafs are a good team. They're a strong team. If their defense can just be a little bit more reliable in their own end and help out Anderson, then that'll help Anderson's numbers look even that much better as well. The team overall I like, and they could have a deep playoff run and go past the first round finally this year. Colorado. I have them at number 5. I love this young team. McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog might be my favorite line in hockey. There's a couple of them, Vancouver, Boston, Colorado, Toronto. There's so many good young lines and good young players in the NHL right now. It's so much fun to watch. This should be such an amazing season for all hockey fans, anywhere, wherever the fuck you're watching this from. Must watch TV, that top line in Colorado, though. Have to check them out. Nazem Kadri, Donskoy, Burakovsky, Connaughton, depth all around this team. Two good young players, Cale Maker, Gerard, sorry, had to look at my notes. I couldn't remember his name for a minute there. And then they added the PK specialist, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, who should help that penalty killing unit a lot, which was a weakness for Colorado last year. And if they can improve that penalty K and that top line can just roll like they did and avoid injuries, then I think Colorado is a scary, scary team to watch. Number 6, I have Washington, Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Backstrom. Like Pittsburgh, their core is getting older. But Washington, man, I love this team. I like this team a lot. Carl Hagelin, the addition of him, significant in my opinion. Eller, Verana, Oshie, Panic, Leipzig, Wilson, one of my favorite players to watch. The dude's tough. He's got grit. He can play everywhere. He can score. He can set you up. Watch the suspensions, though. If Wilson can stay on the ice, man, with Washington, he should be phenomenal. And that penalty kill should see a dramatic improvement with Hagelin's addition as well. And you notice a theme, penalty kill goaltending. That's what I believe in to win a lot. And there are the odd cases where you can just get killer offense like the Leafs, but we'll see how far that takes them. Number 7, Calgary. Like Tampa, playoff woes, first round knockout, five games was it they lost. Very disappointing to Calgary. I think they'll go as far as the goaltending takes them. Riddick and net there. I love this young kid. He should be able to stabilize between the pipes for Calgary. I think they should be knocking on the door and they'll be competing for that top spot in the West again. And I hope that they can get over that first round hurdle and make a run in the playoffs. It'd be so much fun to see a couple Canadian teams make a deep run in the playoffs. Hopefully we can see the Stanley Cup back in Canada for the first time since the Habs did it in 93. But anyways, topic for another day. Las Vegas comes in at number 8 for me. They're just such a deep forward group. They got so many top 6 forwards. They might have 9 top 6 forwards on that team. They got Marc-Andre Fleury in net. Is he sliding in the wrong direction a little bit? Maybe. I don't know. 35 years old. I still think he's a solid goalie. The team's solid all around. There aren't too many weaknesses on here. They'll be competing in the West to win that conference by the end of the year when all things are said and done. Number 9, I have Nashville. PK's gone, but they're still led by Yossi Ekholm, Ellis, Hamus. Their defense is solid. They got Santini, Dante Fabro, good defenseman as well. Pekka Rinne and Yossi Saros, maybe one of the best goalie duels in hockey. I like Nashville. I've always had a soft spot for Nashville. Pekka Rinne is one of my favorite players. Most of my favorite players are goalies, but Pekka Rinne, Nashville Predators. I hope you do well, even with the loss of PK. Number 9 is where I rank them. Number 10, Winnipeg Jets. I still like the Jets. I still like their leadership. They might have lost Tyler Myers, Sherrod, Hayes. Doesn't matter to me. I still like them. Connor, Laine, Little, Scheifele, Lowry, Wheeler. I still like their core. I still think they can get it done. And Connor Hellebuyck, oh my goodness. Just have a stable year. Just consistency. Same with Anderson. A consistent year and the Jets will be just fine. They'll still be competing. They can still make a deep playoff run. The league is pretty much up in the air when it comes to the playoffs because of Tampa Bay's history. Tampa Bay should be the runaway favorites and they should walk away with the cup. But I just don't trust them in the playoffs. And that's why I think the NHL is wide open this year. Number 10 was Winnipeg. Number 11, Dallas. Dallas Stars. Wow. What were you, 29th in the league in goals for last year? You have to address that. You did a bit by adding Pavelski. He's a good in front of the net presence. San Jose is going to feel that loss, I think, dramatically this year. That's why you haven't heard me mention them in my rankings yet. If they can get some goals in the playoffs, if they can get some goals in the regular season, which I find hard to believe they can't with the talent they got up front. But Dallas, if you can find some scoring, your D, your goaltending, solid, solid, solid. Number 12, Florida. Big Bob Bobrovsky. I'm such a fan of him. Like I told you guys, goalies, watch for me. I'll talk big about goalies a lot because I played net. I was a goalie. I love the position. You see everything on the ice. Big Bob in Florida. I think that's going to help the Panthers a lot. Luongo did his best, tail end of his career. But goaltending was a weakness there last year. They got such an exciting group of young talent. And I think Bobrovsky can step in and propel this team into a top 12, possibly even higher. I just didn't know how high to put them. And I snuck them ahead of Pittsburgh, who is my 13th ranked team. So I do like Florida. I just don't know how far they can go. Now, Pittsburgh, on the other hand, I even wanted to rank them lower. Is it like just Crosby and Malkin and Murray? Like, I don't know what to do about this team. I just don't know how good or how bad they're going to be this year. I really cannot get a read on them at all. But because of Crosby, Malkin, and Murray, I've got them still as a playoff team this year. It wouldn't surprise me if they missed the playoffs because I think from 10 through 20 in my rankings, even 21 or 22, is so bunched up that any of them teams could make a push and make the playoffs, and it really wouldn't surprise me. I think there's only really 5-6 teams at the bottom end that would shock me if they made a run at the playoffs, and I think you guys know them. The Kings, the Senators, the Red Wings, etc. Anaheim, even to me, bottom feeder in the NHL this year. Pittsburgh, but I guess if they can stay healthy, Crosby, Malkin, if you can make it to the playoffs and you have them too with Murray as your goaltender, you can do some damage and scare a lot of teams. So Pittsburgh comes in at 13 for me. Number 14, this is going to surprise a lot of people, but this is one of the teams I'm most excited to watch. Some of the best young talent in the game go through such horrible injuries for this club that it just terrifies me. But the Vancouver Canucks, number 14 to me. Besser, Pettersson, Horvat, Ratinen, Sutter, Beagle, Gaudette, Jordy Ben, Edler, Fantenberg, Myers, Stetcher, Tanev. Oh man, the list goes on and on, Vancouver. It is so good. I'm so excited to just watch you guys. Yeah, Thatcher Demko in net. You drafted the young kid. Markstrom, a solid goaltender in my opinion. So you got two young goalies that could grow with your young core. I don't know if you're ready to take the leap that I'm sort of hoping you do and jump up to 14th in a playoff spot this year. But I think if you can stay healthy, you guys could shock a lot of people and even creep into the top 10 and be a scary fucking team going forward. Just so excited to watch Vancouver. I'll probably watch more Vancouver games than almost any other team in the NHL this year. The Leafs, the Jets, the Canucks, they'll all be getting my attention. Carolina will be getting my attention. Even the Flyers will be getting my attention. St. Louis, Tampa, Colorado. I'm so excited for so many teams this year. It is going to be fun in the NHL. And Carolina is my number 15th in my ranking. Solid all-around team. They might have lost Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams, but I still like Carolina. They got a lot of good talent there, and they should still be able to sneak into the playoffs somewhere near the bottom end. A wild card in the East is how I see it. San Jose at 16. Carlson, can you play a full year healthy? Brett Burns, my favorite defenseman in the NHL. Well, one of my favorite defensemen in the NHL. I shouldn't just yelp that, because if I sat back, there might be one or two I like better, but you're definitely up there for me. The loss of Pavelski, like I said, I'm having trouble keeping them in the playoff race with Pavelski out. Just that in front of the net presence reminds me of like Dave Andrechuk or something. Just how he'd stand there and just, it wouldn't matter, and he'd just bury them fucking garbage goals in front for you and dig and hustle and just take the slashes and the hits and the cross checks, because nobody was really moving him out of the way. I think they're going to feel that. Good luck hanging on to the playoffs. I'm hoping you can. And you really, really, really need Martin Jones to play like an NHL goalie this year. You guys could have been so much better if he had played even half as good as he has in prior years to last. So we'll see what happens with San Jose. Are they a playoff team? Are they not? I've got them on the bubble. As do I. The Montreal Canadiens coming in at 17. Because Carey Price, man, oh, fuck, he is so fucking good. If he is healthy, Montreal can sneak into the playoffs with the young players they got there, too. They got one of the best farm systems, if not the best farm system in the entire NHL. They have so much young talent they're waiting on, ready to come up in the next few years. Carey Price, will he be gone or will he still be there? That's the big question for me with Montreal. Domi, Suzuki, Tatar, Kotkaniemi, Mete, Poling, Lehkonen, Caulfield, Danault. What the fuck are they going to do with Jonathan Drouin, who was supposed to be good, but I don't know how they can keep him on the roster. Just roll with all your other young kids. Get some D help for Drouin if possible, and see if you can move on and keep Carey Price happy and keep him there with a few more wins and teasing by getting into the playoffs this year. We want Canadian teams in the fucking playoffs. Or at least all of us up here in Canada. I don't know where y'all watching me from, but us here in Canada, we just want some Canadian fucking teams in the playoffs, making deep runs, not first round fucking exits. Number 18, Philadelphia. Niskanen and Provorov, good top pairing on D. What they have beyond that on defense, Hart, I think he's another good young goaltender that's coming up. I think he's the real deal. I think he's going to play well for Philadelphia. I have them on the bubble, and they'll be fighting that sort of 10 to 20th range in the NHL. I think it's a big battle with them, with 10, 11 teams in the middle of the pack there. Who's going to be in the playoffs? Who's going to be out? I think there could be some battles in the East and West that come right down to the final week, if not game of the season, game or two of the season, which will make it that much more exciting. Philadelphia comes in at number 18. Number 19, Edmonton Oilers. I like you. If Connor McDavid stays healthy, McDavid and Draisaitl are must-watch TV, the best 1-2 punch in the National Hockey League. I don't care what nobody fucking says. Connor McDavid is the best player in the NHL. It's not even close. Edmonton, stay healthy. Shore up the 80,000 fucking holes you got in the roster, Ken Holland. I know you've been adding pieces over the summer. I know you're trying to plug a lot of those holes in that sinking ship before it hits the bottom of the ocean, but Hopefully you can keep it afloat. Hopefully McDavid and Draisaitl can stay healthy, and if that's possible, you could find yourselves fighting for a playoff spot. Wasn't that long ago where you guys did surprise everything in McDavid's first year or two, and you could return close to that on the outside of the playoffs, just sneaking in the last couple spots, maybe 6, 7, 8, whatever, somewhere in around there. I'm just banking on health, and I'm just banking on a big turnaround. And like I said, it was a real tough call, so I went with Edmonton because I like them a bit better than my next three teams. 20 New York Islanders. What are they going to be this year? 21 New Jersey Devils. 22 New York Rangers. Good for you. You added Panarin. I still think your roster is pretty garbage beyond that. Lundqvist in net. He's aging. Is he still the king? I don't know. I think he's aging, we'll just say, because I'm a big fan of Lundqvist and I don't want to knock him. Chicago Blackhawks, number 23. Columbus, 24. Minnesota, 25. Arizona, 26. Buffalo, 27. They could surprise, though. They got a couple good young players. Rasmus, Eichel. They could do better than what I'm giving them credit for, but prove it to me, and I like the other teams a bit better. Anaheim, Ottawa, Detroit, the Kings. That's how I rank them. Yeah, I have Ottawa 29, not last, just because they're Canadian, and I feel bad for the Senators fans having to put up with fucking Eugene Melnyk all this time. That completes my rankings. I'm going to get back to you guys later with all my playoff predictions. I'll break down to the divisions, who I like to win each division, etc. All right, and my football picks will be coming out Thursday. Peace.